Good morning, YouTube. It's Kim from the Enormous Vegetable Garden. I did get my roots done, but I'm not flipping my camera because I'm still in my pajamas. So, just a little, uh, ooh, that's pretty. Just a little tour of the garden. I don't have a whole lot to say, but I went back and looked at pictures and I didn't realize how much everything's grown. So, lots of stuff putting on an enormous amount of growth. I'm working my way through my cedar chips, and the big news is that we did fix this drainage issue here, so we were able to put in actual drainage rock underneath here and slope it down and away from these buildings, and then we hooked up our drainage gutters to a whole new tube systems of heavy duty tube, just to get it away from the barn. And we're still not completely done with that, but right now if it rains we don't have any pooling water, so huge win. Everything in here is being eaten by the little dog. He decided that he likes to eat peas, so he pretty much ate an entire pea plant, pulls the pods off and chews them, and this is now his little personal water trough, so he likes to get in there, and I don't even know, he's the weirdest dog on the planet. So squash are getting big. This is my hugel stump bed. Zinnias. I did come in and thin these out because I think I had 3 or 4 seeds planted here and I thinned them down to 2. I hate thinning it so hard. Peppers are looking really good. This is probably the best year for peppers I've had so far. Some years I think it's weather, some years it's probably me, I don't even know. But this year things are off to a really good start. This is really good soil in here. I paid a lot of attention to the soil for these guys. I can see little pepper coming out there, and flowers coming out on some of the bigger plants. So I'm really excited to try those. Some of them are not labeled, which will be interesting. And I do have a couple of habaneros in there, so I may have to, when I get fruit, kind of like put it on the internet and have somebody tell me what it is. We've been harvesting lots of carrots, and some of these are quite thickly sown. I didn't come in and thin them, so there's one right there. We'll see how big it is. I'll give it a yank. And I forget the variety of these. I usually plant Danvers half long, which grows well in my area and in my soil conditions, but I think these might be Midas, because I couldn't find Danvers half long this year. Lots of seeds were sold out, so these are sweet, but not as sweet as some of the other varieties I've grown, and my horses love that part. So not so much this part, surprisingly. They really like the stem, and so does George. So getting lots of carrots. This whole bed of squash and sunflowers is getting really big. The flowers in my pots are getting really big, and very excitingly, these tomatoes look fantastic, and the row is huge. It's just enormous. I have no idea. I'm starting to panic now what I'm going to do with all these tomatoes. But I have a bunch of them that are, have set flowers. So there we go there. And I haven't taken the suckers off of these. So some people love to pull suckers on tomatoes and some don't. And a sucker is just whenever you have a angle here, you would come in and you would just pinch off this little piece here, because this will grow a whole nother huge branch. And there are some instances where you don't want that. Now, if you lived in like a really hot, humid climate, you would definitely want to prune your plants down and take out all the suckers and probably prune up the bottom leaves as well. We don't get that hot and humid. Usually if it rains here, the weather is cooled off. We rarely get like hot rain. So I, in the past 20 years, have not really paid too much attention to pulling suckers, because I have done it and I haven't done it, and I don't see a difference in my overall plant health or production of tomatoes. So therefore I don't do it because it is very time consuming. But certainly there are people who have to do it in order to have healthy plants. This mortgage lifter is huge. And you probably can't tell from the video, but this is like a super robust plant. And I noticed when I was out here watering, I don't know if we can catch this on camera, some of these look like they could be cat-faced, and I'm just going to leave them for now, but basically what that means, each one of these little flowers will make a tomato, and sometimes you get some that are fused together, and that's when you get those weird looking double tomatoes and sometimes triple tomatoes where they just look like a mutant. You can actually prevent that by finding the blossoms that are going to be cat-faced and just pinching them off. So I'm not really militant about doing that either, but when I do see some that are going to be like triplers or more, I do pinch those blossoms off because you don't really get a good tomato off of that, and you have to, it's perfectly edible, but you have to spend a lot of time cutting out the weird funky parts, so not so fun. This one has just a ton of flowers on that. It's just like amazing, and I wish I knew this variety. I'm sure that there's a tag down there somewhere in the jungle. And we're gonna get a really pretty sunflower coming out here, and based on the stalk of this, which is, you can probably tell it's like a dark purple, this will be either a really dark red or dark orange, and it will be really pretty. It's just more tomatoes. Oh my god, there's so many tomatoes. Artichoke is getting big. I've got lots of little flowers coming in. I have dogs eating my pea plants. There he is right there. Wilson, he just pulled the whole, he pulled the whole little pea vine off so he could eat the peas off of it. Is that so yummy? That's why you don't put your big yellow dog on a diet, because he just comes out and feeds himself things. So I'm not too fussed about that because the peas were finishing up anyway. We got some hot weather, and I don't know that they like to be super hot. And this is interesting because I've never had this before. So see how narrow that pod is? So if I pop this off of here, you can see that it has peas in here, but the pod has stayed really flat, almost like it would be the perfect stir-fry pea. So I've never had them really grow like that, but this whole particular vine, all of them are growing that way, as opposed to, I probably can't find a regular one because I think the dogs have eaten them all. But look at this. This is huge. So I'm thinking this is some other kind of variety I didn't even know that I said. I probably had an old, God, I can't even get that off of there. Come to me, my jungle friend. Look how big that is. And yet the pod is really flat. Are you so excited? I find it weird that my dogs like peas, but they really like them. So then I have, these are all San Marzanos in here. I have some volunteer tomatoes back here. I've got more sunflowers, and very excitingly, I found these this morning. I've got some huge squash blossoms on this squash plant, which I actually think is a, I did not label this one, but I can tell that this is some kind of pumpkin. So I'm really excited about that because it's already set fruit. So this, and you can see there's a pumpkin. Looks like a pumpkin right in there. So pumpkins have male and female flowers, and they need to be pollinated. So I'm happy to see that I have fruit on there because it means I've got pollinators coming in, and you can see there's pumpkins down inside there. Yay, pumpkins! I do have some peas on this plant that the dogs haven't found. So this is more of a pea that would get big, and you'd be more like what you think of a pea as looking like. Here's a better example. So you know it's a big pod, and then when you break it open, there's the pea inside. The other ones are just really flat. I've never seen anything like that, because instead of getting, you know, big like that, they got flat. So obviously I'm growing some mutant pea. And obviously the dogs are really excited about that. And probably the fact that I'm feeding them the peas is just making them want to eat them more. So I never said I was a dog trainer. So here is the row of tomatoes that I put in the last row to go in. And they're actually, you know, they're catching up. They're a little behind everyone else, but I think that they will eventually catch up because they put on quite a bit of growth. We've had some really nice weather. We've had rain, followed by warm temperatures, which of course all plants love. And I have some cantaloupe coming up here next to my mushroom block, so I'm excited to see if I can actually grow some cantaloupe this year. And I'm getting close to getting all my chips spread and my cardboard down. And this is all I'm going to put in this year. I do have plans to put another row of vegetables down here, but I don't think I'm going to get to that this year. And I did find a handy little thing is to put composters, water barrels, or these to keep my, almost like using it like a hose guide, so I don't have to worry about my hose damaging any of the plants. So I just strategically string my hose around these objects that, you know, are too heavy to move, and it keeps me from crushing anything. And yes, I do water by hose, and yes, I could put in a drip system, but I actually like watering by a hose. It does take a long time. It probably takes me an hour to water the garden, but it is time that I can't really do anything else. I'm sort of forced to just do that one thing, so I like it. It's like a little kind of a zen activity. And there's always lots of birds and things out here, and my sheep and keep me company. So this is my second to last row of tomatoes that I put in, and you can see that they're getting huge. This is really, really, really good soil in here. This stuff was really rich. It's on a bed of composted horse manure from my horses, and then I brought in this topsoil from a local place, and it just looked really great today. That's from Beaver Bark, if anyone's local. And I have, my cucumbers are getting really big on this side of the trellis. Some of them are, you can see right there, they're starting to vine. So they can either spill out here or go up the trellis. And when they get a little bit bigger, I'll probably have them do a little bit of each. Some twining and some just spilling, because they have plenty of room to kind of spill out on this pathway. So lots of these are Cherokee purples. It's very exciting. And then we have big squash coming down here on the end. I think these are the red curry squash that I'm really excited to try this year. I've never tried them before. They're winter keeping squash. So that'll be kind of fun to see what those taste like. They're a hard-skinned squash, which is why they're a winter squash, and they're meant to, you know, be able to be kept through the winter or have a longer shelf life once you cut them. So those, you know, you have to really use a heavy-duty knife to cut through, but then they're typically really sweet when you bake them. So excited about that, and really that's all I have to say. I got a little too hot for spinach, so I pulled out the rest of my spinach plants, and I did get a few more, picked up some more peppers, some varieties that I wanted to try. So I have some beets growing in there, and they're gonna have to come out too. I really have so many beets. I've made roasted beets, refrigerator beets. People in my house are getting sick of eating beets. We've had a ton. It's been a very good year for beets. So I think everything is looking really pretty. So far so good. The pumpkins are getting big. In retrospect, this was a really poor choice to put pumpkins right here, because this is 3 different varieties of huge pumpkins that are gonna just take over everything in their space. So I should have put them on the end, but oh well. It'll be like an Easter egg hunt for adults. So trying to find pumpkins among the squash. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a good summer so far. Thanks. Bye.